Alex crouched behind a cluster of jagged rocks, his eyes scanning the alien horizon. The sky was a strange swirl of green and violet, and the sun hung low, casting long shadows over the planet's rocky plains. His mission had been simple: explore the region, collect samples, and report any signs of life. But from the moment his shuttle landed, he felt that this world was unlike any other humans had encountered. The air was thick, almost electric, and every step he took made the ground vibrate faintly. Alien plants swayed as if alive, their translucent leaves pulsing with light. Birds, or creatures that resembled birds, darted across the sky, leaving trails of sparkling dust behind them. Alex adjusted his helmet, taking careful notes in his wrist-mounted datapad. Nothing about this planet felt safe, yet something about it fascinated him. Suddenly, a shimmer in the distance caught his eye. It was faint, but it moved in a strange, rhythmic way. Curious, he moved closer, carefully avoiding the larger patches of glowing flora. As he drew nearer, he realized it wasn't a plant. It was a creature, humanoid, yet unlike any human. Its skin had a soft, luminous quality, and faint currents of energy flowed visibly beneath its surface, like liquid light. Before Alex could even react, a pulse of energy erupted from the being. He staggered backward, shielding his face. The energy wasn't hostile, but it was uncontrolled, chaotic. His instruments went haywire, screens flashing warnings as the readings spiked. Then the figure cried out, not in a language he recognized, but in a voice filled with desperation. "Human, don't move," the being said. Her voice was melodic but urgent. "My body is overloading." Alex froze. He had read about energy-based life forms in theory, but he had never seen one in person. The glowing woman, or whatever she was, clutched her chest, the light surrounding her body flickering violently. Sparks danced across her skin, and the energy seemed to warp the air around her. Instinctively, Alex knew he had to help, even if he didn't fully understand what was happening. He stepped forward slowly, hands raised to show he meant no harm. I can help," he said, though he had no idea how. She looked at him with wide eyes, fear and trust mixing in her gaze. Then, in a sudden motion, she lunged forward and grabbed him. The moment her hands touched his arms, a shock ran through him, almost knocking him off his feet. His vision blurred as brilliant light surged between them. "Don't move!" she shouted, her voice almost a scream now. "If you move, we both—" He held still, though his body trembled. Every nerve felt alive with energy he couldn't comprehend. The air around them hummed, vibrating in rhythm with the pulses of light. Alex's training kicked in. He focused on steadying his breathing, on keeping calm despite the chaos. Minutes, or maybe seconds, passed. It was impossible to tell. Then, gradually, the pulses slowed. The glow dimmed to a soft shimmer, and the energy that had threatened to tear her apart seemed to stabilize. Alex's arms tingled, and he felt a faint warmth coursing through his veins, a small trace of her power lingering on him. She leaned back slightly, still holding him, her chest heaving. "You survived it," she whispered. Relief washed over her face. "No one has ever survived touching me like that." Alex blinked, trying to process what had just happened. I don't understand. What are you?" She hesitated, then spoke carefully. "I am Lyria, of the Serani species. We feed on energy, store it, and release it. But sometimes it becomes too much, too fast, too unstable." She glanced at the horizon, and her eyes narrowed. "And now, they know I am here." Alex followed her gaze and noticed faint, glowing trails across the plains, converging toward their position. "Who? What are they?" "Hunters," she said, her voice grim. "They want our energy, to use as weapons. If they catch me—" Her words trailed off, but Alex understood. They were being hunted, Without thinking, he stood fully, taking the lead. "Then we move, quickly." She nodded, releasing him but keeping one hand lightly on his shoulder. The energy between them was subtle now, like a soft current, almost comforting. They sprinted toward a dense forest, alien trees rising high with crystalline leaves that reflected the strange light of the sky. The ground beneath them seemed soft, almost springy, and every step sent tiny sparks of energy flying from Lyria's body. "Can you control it?" Alex asked as they ran. I am learning," she admitted. "But if it overloads again, I cannot promise safety for either of us." Alex swallowed hard. "Then we have to make sure it doesn't." As they ran, he began observing patterns in her energy emissions. There were faint pulses he could almost predict, moments when she was stable and moments when she teetered on the edge of chaos. His scientific mind kicked in, cataloging every detail. Perhaps, he thought, they could find a way to stabilize her energy permanently. The forest grew darker, the light from above dimming as they ducked beneath the crystalline canopy. Strange creatures watched from the shadows, some curious, some predatory. Alex realized the energy surrounding Lyria was attracting attention, pulling life toward them. One small bird-like creature swooped down, attracted by the glow, but Lyria raised her hands. A burst of controlled energy sent it scattering. "Careful," she warned, panting. "Even small creatures can trigger the overload." Alex nodded, keeping pace. "I can help," he repeated. "I don't fully understand yet, but we'll figure it out." She looked at him, a flicker of something, hope, perhaps, or admiration, shining in her eyes. Few humans think like that. Most would run, scream, or try to fight me. They reached a clearing, a natural plateau overlooking a valley filled with mist. The hunters' trails were closer now, and Alex could hear faint mechanical sounds, drones, perhaps, scanning the area. "We need a safe place," he said. "Somewhere we can think, plan, and—" A sudden pulse of energy erupted from Lyria. Alex felt it ripple through him, faint but unmistakable. He gritted his teeth, holding steady. "It's okay. We'll handle it." Lyria's eyes widened. You're not afraid?" Alex shook his head. "Fear doesn't solve anything. Staying calm does." Her energy shimmered softly as if reacting to his words. "Perhaps you are different from the others," she said, almost in awe. They found a cave nearby, the entrance hidden behind hanging vines that glowed faintly in the dim light. Inside, it was cool, quiet, and free from the unstable pulses of the outside world. Lyria leaned against the rock wall, still trembling slightly, and Alex examined her condition. "You're exhausted," he said. "We need to find a way to stabilize your energy, or you won't last until morning." "I know," she admitted. "But the knowledge, the methods, my people guard them. I only have fragments, and the hunters, they will not stop." Alex considered this. His mind raced with ideas, scientific solutions, improvisations, ways to combine human technology with her natural abilities. "We'll figure it out together," he said firmly. "Your energy, it's incredible. If we control it, it could do amazing things." She looked at him, a faint smile breaking through the exhaustion. "Amazing, yes. Dangerous, yes. But perhaps, with you, I have a chance." They spent the next hours in silence, the tension slowly easing as they shared space without touching. Alex studied the cave, the strange crystals embedded in the walls glowing softly, reflecting Lyria's faint energy pulses. He began making sketches and notes, trying to understand the rhythm of her overloads. Outside, the sky shifted, and distant sounds of the hunters echoed faintly. But inside the cave, there was a fragile peace, two very different beings, one human, one alien, now bound together by circumstance and by the strange, shared energy that had nearly destroyed them both. As night fell, Lyria curled into a small sphere of light, conserving her energy, while Alex worked on a small device from his pack, a crude stabilizer he hoped would help her. The night was long, but for the first time since the encounter, both felt a flicker of hope. They did not yet know what tomorrow would bring, but one thing was clear. This meeting, this touch, this overload, was only the beginning of something far larger, something that could change the lives of both humans and Serani forever. And as Alex drifted to a light sleep, he felt the faint pulse of her energy against his own, steady, soft, and alive. The first rays of the alien sun pierced the cave entrance, casting fractured light across the crystalline walls. Alex stirred, rubbing his eyes as the faint hum of Lyria's energy pulsed gently in the air. She had spent the night conserving her power, curled into a soft sphere of glowing light, while Alex had worked quietly on a small stabilizer device he had improvised from his equipment. It wasn't perfect, but it might help her manage the surges until they could find a more permanent solution. Lyria opened her eyes, her glow dim and steady now. She looked at Alex, a mix of gratitude and curiosity in her expression. "Did it work?" she asked softly. Alex nodded. "Partially. It won't stop an overload entirely, but it can help regulate your energy for short periods. We need to test it carefully." She extended a hand, and he gently held it, letting the faint pulse of her energy flow over him. "You trust me, even now," she said, her voice quiet. "Most would fear or run." "I'm not most," Alex replied with a small smile. "Besides, fear doesn't solve anything. Observation, planning, and calm, that solves problems." Her glow flickered slightly, as if amused by his words. "Human, your species is different, strange, but strong." Before Alex could respond, a sudden vibration in the ground caught both their attention. The sound of approaching machines, or perhaps drones, echoed faintly through the valley below. Alex squinted toward the cave's entrance. Through the mist, he could see faint lights moving across the terrain. "They're here," Lyria whispered, her energy flaring in response. "The hunters, they sensed me last night. They tracked us through the field." Alex's mind raced. "Then we need to move quickly. This cave is temporary. It's safe, but only for a little while." Lyria nodded and rose to her feet. The stabilizer pulsed faintly on her arm as she tested its effectiveness. The energy spikes were smaller, more manageable, though she still trembled slightly. Alex watched carefully. Every surge, every flicker, taught him more about her physiology. Her species' energy rhythms were complex, but not incomprehensible. With careful observation, he could anticipate the dangerous spikes before they became deadly. The two of them left the cave cautiously, moving into the dense forest. The crystalline leaves overhead reflected the early sunlight, casting dancing rainbows across their path. Strange sounds surrounded them, creatures that skittered in the underbrush, birds with iridescent wings calling from above, and the faint hum of the drones hunting them. Alex kept moving steadily, keeping Lyria close. "We need a plan," he said. "We can't just run blindly. They're organized. They will predict our moves." She nodded, her glow steady but tense. "You are human. You think in ways we do not. Maybe that is the key." As they moved, Alex began marking the forest with small, temporary sensors, devices to track the movement of the hunters. He relied on human ingenuity, using technology and strategy instead of brute strength. Lyria watched him with curiosity, occasionally sending small pulses of energy to test the stabilizer and to clear dangerous creatures from their path. Hours passed, and the terrain grew more difficult. The ground became uneven, dotted with jagged rocks and shallow ravines. At one point, a large predator, drawn by Lyria's energy, leapt from the shadows. It was massive, with glowing eyes and sharp claws. Alex reacted quickly, grabbing a fallen branch and using it to distract the creature, while Lyria sent a controlled energy pulse to scare it off. The predator fled, leaving them shaken but unharmed. "You think too quickly," Lyria said. Her voice tinged with awe. "Most would freeze or panic." Alex grinned. "I've had practice. Humans adapt fast. That's why we survive." They found temporary shelter in the hollow of a massive tree, its inner cavity wide enough to protect them from the sun and the drones above. Lyria rested, energy dimming slightly as the stabilizer continued to work. Alex used the time to study the surrounding area, drawing a mental map of the terrain, noting the movements of their pursuers, and thinking of ways to counteract them. "Alex," Lyria said after a while, "you are not afraid of my energy. You understand it differently. Most humans would panic or attack. Why are you not afraid?" Alex paused, thinking. "Because fear doesn't help. Observation helps. Understanding helps. And I've learned that every challenge has a solution if you stay calm and think it through. You may be different from anything I've ever seen, but that doesn't mean you are dangerous. You need help, and I can provide that." Her glow pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. "Perhaps that is why we survived together." As they spoke, a low hum resonated through the forest. Alex tensed. "Hunters! They're close!" Lyria's energy flared instinctively, warning them of the proximity. Alex quickly adjusted the stabilizer, helping her channel the surge safely. "We have to create a diversion," he said. "Something to draw them away, at least temporarily." He scanned the environment and spotted a series of large, hollow rocks nearby. With a few careful adjustments to his portable equipment, he rigged the rocks to emit a series of controlled energy pulses, mimicking Lyria's own unstable signals. Then he guided Lyria through a narrow path in the forest, away from the sensors and drones. The diversion worked. The drones veered toward the false signals, giving them precious time to gain distance. Lyria's glow dimmed again as the stabilizer kept the excess energy in check. She looked at Alex, admiration clear in her eyes. You are clever, human. Perhaps more than clever. Brave." Alex shrugged modestly. "I do what I can. Survival and understanding require both." They moved deeper into the forest, finding a small stream. Lyria knelt by the water, letting it touch her hands. The water seemed to help stabilize her further, the energy within her flowing more smoothly. Alex watched, fascinated. He had read about energy life forms, but observing one so directly, seeing the way she interacted with the environment, was extraordinary. "This water helps," Lyria explained. "It conducts energy, balances it. Humans, you always find ways to adapt, even with strange materials." Alex smiled. "We've had to. Earth is not easy to survive on either, but you are amazing. I think, together, we could do more than just survive." She looked at him, her glow softening. "Together, yes. But danger is always close. They will not stop. They will pursue until they capture me, or destroy me." Alex set down his pack, taking out a small communicator. "We need allies. If I can send a signal to the mission, they might send backup or at least track the hunters. But I'll need to stay with you. We can't risk separating." Lyria nodded, placing a hand gently on his arm. The contact was reassuring, a subtle transfer of energy that reinforced the stabilizer's effects. "Then we stay together. But you, human, you must be careful. Even now, my energy, it can still hurt you if uncontrolled." Alex adjusted the stabilizer once more, taking a deep breath. I can handle it, and we'll get through this. For the rest of the day, they traveled cautiously. They navigated through thick vegetation, across shallow rivers, and over rocky slopes. Every so often, Lyria's energy would spike unexpectedly, sending a ripple through the surrounding environment. Alex learned to anticipate these spikes, adjusting his pace and guiding her movements to prevent overloads. As night approached, they reached a plateau overlooking a wide valley. The valley below was dotted with glowing plants and scattered ruins, remnants of a long-lost civilization. It was quiet for the moment and offered a temporary place to rest. They set up a small camp, using natural rocks for shelter. Alex worked on refining the stabilizer, while Lyria sat nearby, energy dim and controlled. She looked at him, a faint smile on her face. Human, you are unlike anyone I have met. Perhaps this is the beginning of something important. Alex nodded. I think so too. We've survived the first day. The real challenge comes next, but whatever happens, we face it together. The night passed quietly, though Alex remained alert. He took turns watching the horizon, noting any unusual activity in the valley below. Lyria's energy pulsed softly beside him, a living rhythm he had come to understand and respect. And for the first time since the incident, Alex allowed himself a small moment of hope. Together, he and Lyria had survived. Together, they could face the dangers ahead. And together, they could turn an encounter born of chaos into an alliance that might change the fate of both their species. The valley below lay quiet in the pale morning light, but Alex knew better than to trust appearances. The hunters were intelligent, relentless, and they were closing in. He had spent the night observing the terrain, mapping possible escape routes, and predicting where their pursuers might strike next. Lyria's energy pulses had remained steady for hours, thanks to the stabilizer and her careful control, but he knew this calm could end at any moment. Alex, Lyria said softly, her glow dim but steady. I feel it. They are near. Not just the drones, the hunters themselves. He nodded, scanning the horizon. The valley was dotted with ruins, tall, crumbling structures from an ancient civilization. Their jagged silhouettes could provide cover, but they could also become traps. We'll use the ruins, he said. They'll expect us to run straight into the forest. Instead, we'll take higher ground, move across the structures, and keep their line of sight disrupted. She studied him for a moment. Your mind. It works differently. Most of my people would panic, but you plan. Alex gave a small, wry smile. Humans survive because we think ahead. And right now, thinking ahead means getting you safely out of this valley. Carefully, they descended toward the ruins. Each step was deliberate. Alex kept track of the energy spikes in Lyria's body, noting the slight tremors when she sensed the hunters nearby. They moved silently, crouching behind broken walls and pillars, their shadows merging with the ruins' jagged shapes. Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the air. A drone. Its sensors were sweeping the area. Lyria stiffened. Alex, stay close. He nodded, moving in front of her. We can use the shadows and the ruins to our advantage. Keep your energy steady. Don't overreact. The drone passed nearby, its scanning beams missing them entirely. Alex breathed a quiet sigh of relief. See? We're invisible, if we stay careful. Lyria glanced at him, admiration in her eyes. You are not like any human I've met. Most would run blindly or attack foolishly. They pressed forward, reaching the central ruin, a collapsed tower with jagged edges and a hollow interior. Alex led Lyria inside, noting the structural weaknesses. We can use this to hide, or even trap them if necessary, he said, already thinking ahead. Hours passed as they moved cautiously through the ruins. The hunters were relentless, and occasionally they caught glimpses of the drones moving across the valley. Lyria's energy flared with each close encounter, and Alex worked to keep the stabilizer in place, adjusting it with precise movements. "Alex," Lyria whispered, "you calm me. My energy, it responds to your presence. Most humans only increase the instability." He glanced at her, noting the faint pulses of light flowing steadily now. "That's the point. Together we manage it. Alone, you would be at risk. But we're not alone anymore." As night fell, they found a vantage point atop the tallest part of the ruins. From here, they could see the hunters' camp below, faint lights flickering as they prepared for another sweep. Lyria studied them, her glow dim and steady. "They underestimate you," she said. "They think your species weak, limited. But you think in ways they cannot predict." Alex nodded. "That's humanity. We adapt. We find solutions where others see only problems." The two spent the night planning. Alex sketched out the terrain, noting paths that would give them advantages and places to lure the hunters into traps. He combined human strategy with Lyria's unique energy abilities, devising a plan that relied on timing, observation, and careful control of power. By dawn, the plan was ready. They would use Lyria's energy as bait, drawing the hunters into a narrow canyon. Then, Alex would use improvised devices and the terrain to block their advance, giving them a chance to escape and perhaps turn the hunters' technology against them. Moving silently, they approached the canyon. Lyria's energy flared faintly as they neared the designated spot. "Are you ready?" she asked. Alex adjusted the stabilizer. "As ready as we can be. Remember, stay calm. Focus. Use your energy carefully." The hunters arrived soon after, their drones scanning ahead. Lyria stepped forward slightly, letting small pulses of energy ripple through the air. The hunters noticed instantly, their sensors detecting her signature. They began moving cautiously, unaware that Alex had anticipated their every step. The first trap was simple but effective. Alex triggered a rock slide from a higher ledge, forcing the hunters to divert their path. Their drones were caught in the debris, sending sparks and energy readings into chaos. Lyria's energy flared in response, but Alex adjusted the stabilizer, keeping it contained. "Good," Lyria whispered, her glow steady. "Your mind. It works perfectly with mine." They continued through the canyon, each step carefully calculated. Alex used small devices to create temporary barriers, slow the hunters, and mislead their sensors. Lyria followed his instructions perfectly, her energy pulses timed to mimic instability, drawing the hunters deeper into the trap. At the canyon's narrowest point, Alex triggered the final part of the plan. The walls above shifted slightly, collapsing in a controlled manner to block the hunters' path. Drones were crushed, and the remaining pursuers were forced to retreat, unable to navigate the sudden obstacles. Lyria's energy, though drained slightly from the exertion, remained stable thanks to the stabilizer and Alex's guidance. She looked at him, awe clear in her expression. "You saved me, not just from the hunters, but from myself." Alex smiled, though he was exhausted. "We saved each other. You taught me to work with energy I've never seen before. I used what I know, human adaptability, creativity, and calm. That's why we survived." For a moment, they sat in silence, the glow of Lyria's energy soft and steady. The canyon was quiet now, the danger temporarily past. Alex checked his devices and maps. "We have time, but we can't stay here long. They'll regroup. We need a more permanent solution for your energy control, and a safe place to recover." Lyria nodded. "Yes, and perhaps a place where humans and Serani can work together. Your species, humans, You are unpredictable, but that unpredictability is powerful. They traveled cautiously through the night, avoiding the hunters' patrols and using the landscape to their advantage. Alex continued to observe Lyria's energy, noting patterns he had never seen before. Every pulse, every flare was data. Every controlled movement was a step closer to understanding her species' abilities. By the second day, they reached a hidden valley, lush with vegetation and shielded by high cliffs. It was a natural fortress, and Lyria immediately sensed the safety. Her energy pulsed gently, no longer unstable. Alex set up a small camp, taking time to refine the stabilizer and document his observations. "If we can understand your energy fully," he said, "we could help your people survive. And maybe we could prevent the hunters from ever threatening you again." Lyria watched him work, her glow soft and warm. "Perhaps, with you, humans, can become more than we imagined. Your species, brave, intelligent, creative, you face danger and turn it into opportunity." Alex paused, smiling faintly. "That's humanity. We survive because we think, adapt, and never give up. And right now, I'm glad it brought me to you." Lyria's energy flared gently, a subtle pulse that echoed his words. "Then, together, we will face what comes next. Danger, challenges, and perhaps a future neither of us expected." As night fell over the hidden valley, they prepared to rest. Alex checked the stabilizer one last time, ensuring it would maintain Lyria's energy through the night. She rested nearby, glowing softly, her energy calm for the first time since the overload. And as Alex drifted into a light sleep, he felt the faint rhythm of her energy in harmony with his own. A living connection, born of crisis, trust, and shared survival. The hunters were still out there, but for the first time, Alex felt hope. Together, he and Lyria had survived impossible danger. Together, they could face whatever came next. And together, they were stronger than anyone, or anything, had anticipated. The real challenge was approaching. The hunters would return, stronger and more determined. But Alex had a plan, and with Lyria's unique energy and his human ingenuity, they had a chance. And for the first time, he realized something important. Survival wasn't just about running or hiding. It was about understanding, adaptation, and cooperation. And in this alien world, humanity's greatest strength, its mind, might just be the key to a future no one could predict. The hidden valley was quiet under the pale glow of the alien moons. Lyria's energy pulsed softly, a gentle rhythm that Alex had learned to anticipate. For the first time in days, they could rest without immediate fear of attack. But Alex knew better than to relax completely. The hunters were intelligent. They would regroup and come again. Survival meant preparation and a plan to turn the tables. "Alex," Lyria said softly as they sat near a small stream, her glow steady, "I feel their presence. They are close. Not here yet, but near. They are gathering strength." Alex nodded, examining the surrounding terrain. "Good. That means we can prepare. We know where they are, and we know what they want. We've survived until now because we stayed calm and thought ahead. This time, we won't just survive. We'll fight smart." Lyria looked at him, her luminescent eyes reflecting a mixture of trust and curiosity. "Human, your courage, it is different. Most of my people would panic, but you plan, anticipate, and act. Perhaps that is why we have survived." Alex smiled faintly. "That's humans. We adapt. We solve problems. And right now, we need to solve this one together." They spent the next hours fortifying their position. Using Lyria's energy and controlled pulses, they created barriers and traps within the valley. Alex improvised devices from his equipment, combining technology and Lyria's abilities to form a network of defensive points. Rocks and trees were rigged to respond to energy triggers, and narrow paths were carefully mapped to funnel any intruders into predictable routes. By the time the moons rose fully, the hunters had arrived. They moved cautiously, aware now that the humans and Sirani were not as helpless as before. Drones hummed and scanned, but the traps and diversions designed by Alex and powered by Lyria's energy created confusion. Sparks flew as drones misread signals and crashed into the controlled barriers. "Stay calm," Alex whispered, holding Lyria's hand. The stabilizer hummed faintly, keeping her energy contained. "Follow my lead. Use your pulses only when necessary. Every burst must count." Lyria nodded. Her glow brightened slightly, a visual reflection of her resolve. Together they waited, watching as the hunters moved deeper into the valley, unaware of the ambush prepared for them. Alex activated a small device, sending a pulse of energy across the canyon floor. It mimicked a surge in Lyria's power, drawing the hunters' attention. As predicted, they advanced toward the signal, their movements deliberate but cautious. At the perfect moment, Lyria released a controlled wave of energy, interacting with the devices Alex had set. Rocks shifted, blocking paths, and barriers activated, creating confusion among the hunters. Drones crashed into the uneven terrain, and the remaining forces found themselves trapped within a labyrinth of obstacles. Alex guided Lyria carefully, her energy flowing in harmony with the stabilizer. "Now," he whispered, "push forward. Use the narrow path to trap them completely." They advanced together, Lyria's glow illuminating the path. The hunters tried to adapt, but Alex's traps were precise, their movements anticipated. The valley became a controlled battlefield, and every step they took displayed a combination of human ingenuity and alien energy mastery. At the final choke point, the hunters were funneled into a narrow corridor surrounded by high cliffs. Alex triggered the last devices, causing controlled collapses to block their retreat. The drones were incapacitated, and the hunters were forced to halt, realizing their advantage had been stripped away. Lyria's energy pulsed strongly now, though Alex kept it steady with the stabilizer. "It's working," he whispered. "We've turned the valley into our defense." The hunters made a final attempt to advance, but every move was anticipated. Alex and Lyria used coordinated bursts of energy to push them back further, forcing retreat. One by one, the remaining forces withdrew, unable to match the combined strategy of human planning and Sirani energy control. When the valley finally fell silent, Alex and Lyria stood together, exhausted but victorious. Lyria's glow softened, energy stabilizing completely. She looked at Alex with awe. "Human, you changed the outcome. Without you, I would not have survived. Perhaps, together, we can change more than just this battle." Alex smiled, still catching his breath. "We survived because we combined our strengths. Human planning, your energy. We worked as a team. That's the difference." She stepped closer, placing a hand gently on his arm. The warmth of her energy flowed into him, a reassuring pulse. "Your species, humans, you are unpredictable. You act differently, think differently, but that makes you strong. You survive, where others would fail." Alex nodded. "And you taught me to understand a kind of power I've never seen. Together, we're stronger than anything that comes at us." The next day, they explored the valley more thoroughly, using Lyria's abilities to detect hidden dangers and Alex's ingenuity to improve their defenses. They discovered natural energy conduits within the valley, streams of power that could be harnessed to stabilize Lyria further and even to create safe zones for her people. "This place could become a refuge," Lyria said, her glow brightening with hope. "With your help, humans and Sirani, we could survive together safely." Alex studied the conduits, making notes and sketches. "Exactly. And we can send signals to my team. They could come here, study the area, and help your people learn to stabilize energy safely. We could turn this valley into something more than a hiding place, a home, a partnership. Lyria smiled faintly. Perhaps this is the beginning, not just of survival, but of understanding, of cooperation, and friendship between our species. They spent several days fortifying the valley and testing the energy conduits. Lyria learned to control her power more efficiently with Alex's guidance, and he continued to observe, record, and refine methods to assist her. Every challenge they faced strengthened their bond, and their teamwork became seamless. Then, one evening, as the moons reflected off the crystalline trees, Lyria turned to Alex. "You saved me. More than once. But not just from the hunters. From losing control. From fear. You gave me strength. Human, I am grateful." Alex placed a hand on hers, feeling the soft pulse of her stabilized energy. "We saved each other. You've taught me things I never imagined. I've seen your world, your abilities. And I've learned that courage and intelligence are not limited to humans. Together, we're unstoppable." Her glow pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. "Then, together, we will face whatever comes next. Danger, challenges, and perhaps a future neither of us imagined." The valley had become more than a refuge. It was a symbol of unity. The hunters had retreated, but their presence lingered as a reminder of the dangers beyond. Alex and Lyria knew they could not remain hidden forever. But now, they were prepared. Now they had the knowledge, the power, and the trust to face whatever threats might come. In the following weeks, they established a system for communication and defense, using Alex's technology and Lyria's energy in harmony. Scouts from her species began to arrive, guided safely to the valley by controlled energy pulses. Human teams, alerted by Alex's signals, began studying the region, offering assistance and observation. The cooperation between humans and Serani grew stronger each day. Lyria's people learned to control energy safely, humans adapted to working with new forms of power, and Alex became a symbol of what could be achieved when courage, intelligence, and teamwork combined. One evening, as Alex and Lyria watched the moons rise over the valley, she spoke softly. "Human, I once feared my power would destroy everything, but with you, I see potential, strength, hope." Alex smiled, looking at the gentle glow of her energy. "That's what humans do. We adapt, we survive, and we help others do the same. And sometimes, we find friends in the most unexpected places." Her eyes met his, and for a moment, the world felt still. Two very different beings, united by circumstance, danger, and trust. Two species, once strangers, now partners in survival and discovery. The hunters might return someday, but Alex and Lyria knew that together, they could face anything. Their bond, forged in crisis and strengthened through cooperation, was proof that humanity's courage, ingenuity, and adaptability could change the course of events, even across the stars. And as they stood side by side, gazing over the valley they had claimed together, Alex realized that the moment she had grabbed him, when her energy had nearly destroyed them both, had been the beginning of something far greater. Something that would shape not only their lives, but the future of two species. It had begun with fear and uncertainty, but it had ended in triumph, understanding, and hope. Humanity, Alex thought, had once again proven that intelligence, courage, and compassion could overcome challenges that no one else could face. And in the alien valley, under strange skies and glowing moons, a human and a Serani stood ready for whatever the universe would send next. Together,